Welcome to Fear the Walking Dead reviews here in What the Flick. I'm Kim, this is John Iadarola, and Francis Maxwell joining the party.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking about Not Fade Away. This is episode 4 of season 1. We did skip last week episode 3, which I would argue was a superior episode. But
we can't talk about it, so
a lot of action happened.
we gotta move on.
We gotta move on. We gotta move on and be survivors.
Yeah, we gotta move 8 days
episode,
into the future.
I think it was arguably a first for Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead, which is there was not a single walker in this episode.
Not alive.
Yes.
That's true, yes.
That wasn't a walker. That was a man who wasn't infected.
Yeah, but under the car.
Under the car, the woman that was lying there.
That seemed walker-ish.
Okay,
perhaps.
okay.
I think,
but yes, you're right. There was no real zombies, basically.
So this focused heavily on the characters, the military occupation of the area. I do have things to say about that, but we need to talk about the episode itself first. So we open on Travis. He seems to be more or less okay with what's going on.
I thought it was a flashback.
No.
yeah, so
It was
did I.
so normal,
That's this whole method,
He's
right?
jogging, he's pretending things are okay.
Yeah.
They are not okay. He's ignoring his son, telling him, you know, there's someone over there communicating, there's someone there outside. Pretty much writes him off. Madison decides that she's going to explore this. And what does she find?
Yeah.
What we expect to find, really.
Yeah. And,
Lots of death.
Do you think this is, right, so this is the first time I've kind of been on reviewing this. So, like, I understand the slow build-up. But do you think this slow build-up, now it comes to this episode, it just feels like they just kind of throw you into the theory that we all expect from The Walking Dead, that people are actually worse than the walkers. Like, I feel like we haven't even experienced walkers come into life in this show yet, and now we're kind of already viewing the antagonists as people.
I think what this show is supposed to bring was what we didn't get in the last one was anything of the process of humanity falling. Like, by the time he comes to, 250 or 300 million people in America are already dead.
It's
And so we didn't see any of that. So we got to see in the first 3 episodes, basically, the first signs of zombies and then some rioting. And now we see the other necessary thing that we didn't really get to see in The Walking Dead, which was, of course, the military is going to do something.
Yeah.
And you're going to seem safe. We know that it's going to fall eventually, perhaps because they get overrun, perhaps because they abandon them, who knows.
Do we believe
but I wanted to see this.
Do we believe Madison's theory that, you know, they're not trying to help us, they're cutting off phone lines on purpose? Are they going to maybe decimate the area?
They could be doing both.
I think they're thinking ahead. They're trying to understand that not everyone can survive, because that's just the way that that's the way that we're watching this show, and we know more than them. That's by far the biggest seller point in this whole series.
Is it
that we know.
though?
It's a little frustrating, but like, because I know more than them, so I'm like, why do you go out and save this random person? And maybe I'm heartless for that, but I've been experiencing The Walking Dead
We're
for
dead
8
inside
seasons.
from
So we're
watching
dead
The
inside
Walking
from
Dead.
that. So I'm
I'm
like,
dead inside.
yeah,
life.
you're inside. You're somewhat safe at the moment. And this is at the point before the end when they take her son. I understand that now. She's going to be upset about that. But at this point, you're just kind of like, all right, we know that you go out there. There's a very high possibility you're going to either see something you don't want to see, or you're probably going to die. So at that point, I'm like, why? You don't need to do that. You're technically safe. But this is the whole theory of this show, is that people might do good, but they're also thinking about themselves in the back of their mind. And for our case, the main characters always start the opposite. Like, Travis is a nice guy, trying to do good for everyone, but it's going to be fun to see his character be demolished. It's going to be fun to see him
Get
break
that
down.
Rick Grimes breakdown.
I think one of the reasons it was Madison that went was because she saw her neighbor about to be attacked a couple of episodes ago, and I think that she feels horrible that she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And so now she feels she needs to go try to save that person, even though, I mean, she goes out there, no weapon. If she had seen 3 walkers, she'd be dead. Like, yeah, and that's a good point. They are ignorant, and so we can sort of understand that they wouldn't prepare the way you should.
Yep.
I would think you should understand that cutting a hole in the fence probably isn't the best idea.
Yeah.
And is probably going to come up in the next 2 episodes, I would imagine. Like, that has now compromised the security, and we never got any scene of her like carefully like wiring it shut again or anything like that.
She doesn't know.
This is one theory I wanted to know. Like, so when I first thought, right, okay, they're taking the week. That's what they want. They're taking the week away. I was thinking, all right, maybe they're using them for blood or something like that. But then I'm thinking, like, why would you take Nick then? Because is he going to be the best candidate to use?
Maybe they suspect he's vulnerable.
True.
They might not. They might just need to experiment. They want to watch people who have different sorts of injuries.
So, do you think that those people, everyone who's been taken away, are they done for?
No,
I don't think so. I think they're alive, but I don't think they want to be there.
Will they be executed kind of deal?
I think probably.
I think that's the last.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like that's the last we've seen of Griselda. We'll probably see Nick again.
Yeah, Nick's
I don't know
not gonna
how
die.
though.
No.
He'll be around.
No, he'll find his way out. But I think you'll probably get one of those sentimental scenes where the husband will probably find her and she's probably already became a walker by that point, and then there's your sad scene. But I do think that they're thinking ahead because, right, if all these people are sick, then they need to do experiments. They should be. There's not exactly any test laboratories, unless we don't know, but I don't imagine there's great facilities to continue to test and figure out what's going wrong. So maybe they're trying to find out what's going wrong with these certain people. And also they need to understand that you're not going to have any blood banks or anything else, so you're going to have blood for people that are maybe more savable and maybe people that can handle this environment, because a drug addict isn't your most experienced person under crisis. So that it makes sense in this world, but it doesn't make sense to the characters.
Yeah, I liked the introduction of the new doctor. She had previously been on House of Cards.
Do you trust her? Because I feel like she's up to something.
No, I think she probably wants to do the right thing. I mean, she was so desperate to get Liza to help. I bet she's going to be, first of all, I think she's going to become a character. I think that she is in the hospital trying to do the right thing, and just like Liza, she's going to find, no, the military is not interested in necessarily helping these people. I mean, clearly, the military does want to help. Like, if they just gun down everyone, then what are you doing that for? Like, what have you saved if you just kill everybody?
Well,
they want to save these small
maybe they view
groups.
it as like, well, this is the contaminant area, and if we get rid of them, it'll be okay.
Maybe.
But we now know with our hindsight, it's not.
Then why do it with guns? Why not napalm all of LA? Like, here's the thing. I got to bring up the fundamental problem with this episode. And overall, I like both the series and I even like this episode. But the way that it has gone down does not make one single shred of sense. LA has 11 million people in it.
Sure.
They killed 9 million. Okay, so half the people fled the city or whatever. They've gone to become a problem of someone else. They killed millions of people door to door. That would take decades.
No, well, what they
didn't go in 8 days and clear 6 million homes.
What they did is
how is that possible?
What they did is he just went to the west side and they put up a special sale on some pumpkin spice lattes,
true,
and he just cleared out half of the west side.
Pumpkin spice. No, but
They're
seriously,
back, y'all.
she went out there. She didn't see a single live zombie. There's millions of zombies if society has fallen. Where the hell did they all go?
That's exactly
Maybe
what I
it
think.
will unfold. I don't know.
I think that they're trying to keep this small scale, but I think what intrigued me was how big scale this is, because this is LA. We're used to seeing Rick
crowded.
And, exactly, and this is why I experienced more mayhem. Like those first couple episodes when downtown LA was just being ransacked. I'm like, this is amazing. I love this because this is how society probably would react. I'm not trying to say everyone in society would go out and start causing riots, but in a big city like LA, things start to go a little crazy. This is how that environment would react. So therefore, there's going to be more walkers than anything else. But you're right, like it's just so scarce.
Herds.
And we were talking about this as well. How many people die a day in LA?
Yeah.
And I understand
Hundreds,
they touched on that.
thousands,
I understand.
tens of
I
thousands.
understand they touched on that one episode when they went by the hospital and suddenly all the people are walking out the hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
Slightly touched on it, but there would be millions more. That's what I think they need to. I know we're trying to keep it small within a group because they want to focus on this group and build those characters, but you got to at least give us some sense of what's going on outside that.
Yeah. Or for the scale, if you do want me to believe that you've pacified all of LA, you can't show me 5 guys in a Humvee. You got to do, I know they have a budget, but you got to show a faraway thing of literally thousands of soldiers walking down a block or something like that. You got to give us some idea of how they could have pacified. Or else, why did you set it in a major city, one of the biggest cities in the world?
Or a build up of bodies.
We saw
or
this
something
even in
at
the
least.
first episode.
like a mountain of bodies.
Of The Walking Dead, which is like this massive horde of walkers.
It would be that.
Where is it? It
Did
should
we ever
be
go
there.
there?
What?
I don't think they ever went back to
Atlanta?
that. No, the massive horde. We never actually
No.
spent much time in it. That's too
It's
bad.
just more to like show you
Yeah.
the scale of this horror that's going on. Let's see. Were there? I know this is a character-driven show, like very focused on like family drama, relationships, but I don't feel all the characters are really clicking at this point,
Like
which
who?
may be problematic.
There's not much to Alicia.
Yeah, not much to Alicia. She just seems sad about
She's annoying.
Aunt Susan and her boyfriend, who's almost certainly gone.
Oh yeah, no
he's so
doubt.
dead.
He's done. But what I agree. But I think this kind of takes me back, like I'm going to throw back to the first season of The Walking Dead when you're just identifying the characters. Because when you look at the first season of The Walking Dead, I know we don't want to go back constantly, it's a new show on its own, but how many of those characters kind of like stayed through? There's just the core of
Carol?
those.
What was she like in
What
the
was
first
Carol like
season?
at first? So that's what I love about this, because I'm already picturing who's going to be the Carol out of this group. All right, maybe
Alicia could have a chainsaw in 2 seasons for all we know.
That's-
Like, we
and
don't
that's what's
know.
the beauty of this, is because we know more, but again, I don't want it to just completely follow that trait because I do like what you're saying. I like how it's kind of unpredictable at this point because in The Walking Dead original, you kind of know how things are going to work out at a certain point. Season 1 and 2 is a little different, but towards the end of the seasons, you could write the script yourself. You knew it was going to happen. But with this, with how big a scale it should be, you don't know what's going on. Like if there's only one way, if it spreads how fast it should in LA, then you got to think about, are they going to just create an explosion right there? They're just going to wipe out the area if that's their way of thinking because they're trying to kill the wheat.
I mean, what they were doing right now was, Travis saw that he accidentally sold someone out across the hill.
Yeah.
With the person with the light.
Yeah.
They're almost
So
certainly
what's the
executed
advantage
now.
of killing that person then?
I don't know, because, you're right. I mean, when you put the pieces together, there isn't really a clear strategy or picture of what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, we do have to bear in mind that we understand that everybody has the virus or whatever it is that causes it. Everybody already has it. They seem to think that it can spread person to person. So then, if a person is sick, it makes sense to kill them. We saw that they were going around in the gear or whatever.
Maybe it can spread person to person.
Maybe it can, but it seems like everybody has it. Maybe they don't this early.
Yeah.
I do like that they've shown, okay, the military, they can totally cover themselves up, and you can imagine that they would be relatively immune to the zombies. But what I like about what we're going to see in probably the next 2 episodes, and they set this up with the lines like from the lieutenant, everybody be nice, so I don't have to shoot you.
Yeah.
Like in the Walking Dead, we saw the failure of the government and the failure of the military, but in this, we're going to see the betrayal
no doubt.
of those, and that's going to be exciting.
It seems compelling.
Do you not think it's kind of like funny when you're watching it and you see them like so covered up and everything, just taking precautions, and you just think back of Carol
suits?
just like rubbing blood all over her, and imagine she just walked down the street with all the blood.
Don't
It's
know
fine.
it yet.
It's fine. Everything's good. Just don't like get bitten and don't swallow it. You're good.
I really like Daniel's speech. I think he's becoming my favorite character about
he's cool.
being faced with the military occupation and death as a kid, and comparing that to his life now. He's kind of a dick, but he tends to be pretty right. I really like him as a character so far.
Yeah.
So when I saw him separated from his wife, I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
she's done for.
And I like the very real, like you would see 100 instances of what Ophelia is doing with that soldier to get medicine. Like that would become so widespread. And she's
It didn't even work.
well, it didn't work, but it could work eventually. I think the soldier could be an interesting character because he's our only eye directly into what the military is doing, even if a lowly, just a regular soldier. And Ophelia is a very pretty lady.
She's very beautiful.
She's very beautiful.
And we're going to leave it at that, John.
Would you get her medicine, John?
Hell yeah, give her medicine I desperately need.
Yeah, I would as well. I would as well.
Anyway, so the show.
Like if I needed the medicine,
Yes,
I
John.
would give it to her
yes,
instead.
we understand.
Amongst other things.
Yes, John.
Okay. So what were you thinking?
So I want to address some of the criticism of the show, which is that it's moving too slow.
It's 4 episodes.
Well,
We've watched 100 episodes of Walking Dead at this
It's an extremely
point.
abbreviated first season, just like The Walking Dead was an extremely abbreviated first season. 6 episodes only. We're 2/3 through.
But what would not be going slow? Like, if they burn through in 4 episodes the entire advantage this show has over the other one, and all of a sudden it's just zombies everywhere, then what was the point of rebooting it? Like, I'm fine with it lasting a couple seasons.
I agree. I think that I like the pace that it's going at. Sometimes it seems slow, but that's just our expectations to see walkers in every second scene or whatever. But again, I just think they could have at least built up more of what the military are doing without just completely. Like, I just feel at the end of this episode, they sold what they're doing. Like they're going to be the antagonist. They're going to be the bad guys. They're
I'm really
going to
excited
cut
for
away
that,
the weak.
actually.
I am excited about it, but it was like, why did you build this up so much so that we don't really know what's going on with the walkers? But now the walkers aren't even considered to be the problem right now. The way that The Walking Dead, they will come back, but the way in The Walking Dead they started to introduce that later. But at the start, it's just kind of thrown us in there right now.
I mean, well, we have 2 episodes left. I really hope these episodes shoot through and we get a lot of action. I guess we'll find out. Stick with us next week when we review episode 5. So soon.